Hello, my people. Today I want us to talk about our ancestors, respecting our ancestors, why we should respect our ancestors, and why we should create a relationship with our ancestors. Number one, we all know ancestors. When I say ancestors, I expect everybody knows what I'm talking about. Number one, your ancestors are in your DNA and you are in their DNA. That's one. And you will never change the fact that your grandmother gave birth to your grandmother, who gave birth to your mother who gave birth to you. That one will never change. No matter how religious you are, that one will never change. Even if you are an atheist or whatever, that one will never change. I will never change the fact that my mother gave birth to me. That one will never change. We were taught, and up to date, people believe that our ancestors are demonic. The moment a person dies, he becomes evil. They respect you, respect your mother. The moment your mother dies, now she becomes evil. But when she was alive, you respected her. Why don't you continue respecting your mother, whether she is alive or dead? Because it's the physical body that dies. Her spirit is very, very much alive. Right? That's why you will hear people saying, "Oh, I'm seeing my mother. My mother died 5 years ago, but I do see her," because we die physically, but we have the spiritual life, and we have spirits, and your spirit is much, much alive, right? If your mother was that kind person, your grandmother was that kind of person, you go to her home, she prepares food for you. What changes when she dies? Why do you label them as evil the moment they die? Why? When you look at African traditions in general, because we have different tribes, black people, we are different, because we have very, very many tribes, different tribes with different traditions and culture. But there is one thing in common in all African tradition: respecting their ancestors. If you go to Nigeria and listen to all those tribes, they will tell you about respecting their ancestors. You come here to Kenya, I don't think there is a tribe that did not respect their ancestors before the coming of the whites and the Arabs, or before the coming of the religions. So if my grandmother is that kind person, let me tell you, my grandmother is alive. Yes, she's alive. She's a kind person. We love her, we respect her. When she dies, why should we say she's evil? What changed? What changed after she died? Nothing. She was a good person and I respect her, either she's dead or alive. And that's why in all African tribes, every tribe used to pour a libation to their ancestors, because we have the physical life and we have the spiritual realm, or the spiritual life. And our ancestors are in the spiritual realm. That's why people say they are people who died a long time ago. And yes, they do visit. But we were told, no, your ancestors are evil, because that person, the whites, who told us that our ancestors are evil, because when they came to Africa, they saw spiritual people. They saw that we have this physical life and we are much into spiritual life. And let me tell you, if there's something that really matters to our life, is not the physical life. Spiritual life matters. What is happening in your spiritual life? And don't say that there's nothing like spiritual life. Then you will tell me why we even dream. You will tell me why we have things like sleeping paralysis if you think spiritual life does not exist. What happens in spiritual life really matters. Really matters. Live this physical life. The spiritual life really matters. Now, when these people came, they saw spiritual people. And if there's something that white people really wanted. It is any to, I don't know how to say it in English. Like in Kikuyu, we say kuharakania everything here in Africa. Like you find people living in this way, but you want them to live in other ways because they saw we were the way we used to live was very organic. In Africa people used to live organic life, of which people say it's primitiveness or backwardness. No, it was an organic life that was very clean. Now these people came and see we respect our ancestors very, very much, of which they do respect their ancestors. Do you see those people going to their graves, to the graves, carrying flowers? Do you see how white people respect their ancestors? Do you people see? But they told you your ancestors are evil. How many people today, after they bury someone, how many people visit the graves here in Africa? I don't even think people visit graves, but white people, they take flowers there to their dead people. They take balloons. I see them carrying balloons and taking them to their dead people because they know their ancestors are there in their DNA. But it's me and you who they lied to, that our ancestors are evil, but their ancestors are saints. That's why you'll name your schools St. Francis, St. What, but you'll never hear a school named Modoni. Yes, you'll never hear that. But in Africa, here in Kenya, how many schools do we have named after St. Francis, St. Mary, St. Joseph? You see? Do you see? Your ancestors are that thing we say, oh God, send me Michael. How do we call them? Angel Michael, Angel Gabriel to come and protect me. Who's Gabriel? Who's Michael? That is the work of your ancestors. That's the work of your ancestors to protect you. Your ancestors are your guardian angels. And that's why I really respect my ancestors. And let me tell you one thing. Since I started my journey of awakening as a Kikuyu girl who used to believe in these things of I'll go to heaven and stuff, my life took a different njia ingine tofauti sana, and my life, I can tell you, I'm at peace. And every time, let me give an example. And I told my boyfriend about this. My boss delayed my salary for a long time, and I'm like, and there's that something that is telling me, this man, your boss thinks that he already paid you. And if you try to ask him for the money, he will tell you that he already paid you because he thinks he already paid you. And now this thing was stressing me because how am I going to lose all that money? And I don't have that courage. I don't like asking for my salary because he's a grown-up. He can pay me because he knows he's supposed to pay me. So I was like, how am I going to ask for this money? And that week I was stressed. That whole week I was stressed because there is that thing that is telling me, you know what, Muthoni, your boss thinks he already paid you. That's why he's not paying you. And if you ask him for the money, he will tell you that he paid you. You see, and I will not be able to argue with him and tell him, no, you did not pay me. And now, because I connect myself with my ancestors, you know what I said? I was doing the dishes in the morning, and I said, I was like communicating to my ancestors, and I told them, tell this man to pay me. And let me tell you, that day that this man paid my money at night. And I was like, why did he not even wait for tomorrow? And then I remembered that I communicated to my ancestors in the morning and asked them to tell this man to pay me. That's how much important your ancestors are. And until tomorrow, bye, and don't forget to subscribe.